Tim said that you should try out ArcheAge. You actually get those options and you can become a pirate faction. Tim, honestly, I wouldn't recommend anyone to ArcheAge. The amount of gold buying that's required to be good at that game is ridiculous. You have to be a patron in order to be good at that game. I mean, you can go about being free to play and eventually become a patron off of just, farming gold. But there's a lot of hacks that happen in that game that are never going to be fixed because it's owned by XL Games, and Tryon can't fix them because it's not their game to fix it. It's just their game published. And also, on top of that, gold this outweighs everything in that game, so it really promotes buying gold to the extent of if you buy gold, you buy power. The way it's laid out is not good at all. In theory, it was a great game, and anyone who ends up buying gold, and the most hardcore players typically buy gold. It's not the casual, it's typically the most hardcore, and I know that from experience. I was in a guild called Ridiculously Good Looking. They eventually broke apart and became something else, but the guild leader, I think they're called Inquisition or whatever, but the guild leader even admitted to everyone in TeamSpeak he buys gold. He bought like $500 plus of gold, ridiculous amount of gold, and the co-leaders bought gold all the time too, and because of that they had the best gear and were able to kill people without hardly any contest. They were not the most skilled players by any means. They were terrible. Most of them that bought gold were terrible at the game, but because they had so much power from their gear, because there are so many qualities above arcane, which is like epic in that game, they were able to essentially buy power by utilizing gold and buying that from gold sellers. And that really made me despise that game, because I was looking at those people who bought the gold and progressed way quicker than everyone else, and then I looked at the progression path that I would have had to take in order to get that gear myself, and it would have took ages. But honestly, I just couldn't handle the game anymore. I mean, I saw as much of it that was so focused on gold, and honestly, I'm surprised there's not a lot of outrage about that game. One of the things that people despised about Ion, one of the things that got a lot of press about Ion, was the fact that you had to go through an enchanting system that required a lot of in-game currency, and if you failed enchanting an item, because there was a chance to, you would lose an enchanting level on that item. And a lot of players said that over in Korea, I'm not sure if this was true or not, there was a chance for that item to break, and everyone said if that ever came over to America, if they ever made a system where your item had a chance to break in America, then they would quit the game, because that's just ridiculous. There should be no system like that where if you fail an enchantment, your item breaks. Guess what system is in ArcheAge? You can actually break your item if you fail regrading it. And that, to me, is the biggest deal breaker, and why I can never recommend that game to anyone, because that is the most archaic, the most ridiculously punishing system to have in a game that is so unplayer friendly in regards to progression. It's not good. If they remove that, maybe I could support it, but until they remove that system, I cannot support ArcheAge at all. Tim says he plays Eastern games and he likes them, so he's used to the breaking system. Yeah, I mean, it's to each their own. I mean, some people do like that system, but honestly, I just don't like spending time and ended up, losing all that progression. I don't mind losing the piece of gear if someone kills me. I just don't like having a system that is not at all based on skill taking an item away from me. But like I said, if that system's wrapped around if a player kills me and they take all my gear, that's fine. That means I suck. That means I lost that stuff on my own because I couldn't kill that other player. But if it's all based around luck, it's not worth my time at all. It's one of those games that some people still enjoy, but I don't think it's gonna last very long because it's dying off in Korea, and it's bound to die off over here in America because how XL Games is mismanaging it. If it was managed properly, like the land grab hacks weren't there, if there wasn't as many exploits as there is, I probably could suggest it. But there's so many exploits and teleporting hacks and stuff that are never going to be fixed. I can't support that game. And the fact that they released Aurora later, not at launch, is also another indication that XL Games isn't producing enough content. Because why would they phase content that already exists, that was already tested in alpha, and waits until a month or so after release in order to release it? It makes zero sense for me. It just does. I mean, other than the fact that XL Games may not be producing enough content. So It's really sad. I think if ArcheAge was in the hands of Tryon fully, and if Tryon made ArcheAge, it would be a fantastic game. Be a great game. But because it's not made by Tryon, it's published by Tryon, it's not going to be a great game. Tim says, you say that it's fine as long as another player kills you because level 10, you are level 10 and get killed by a level 100, just examples. Won't that just be just as unfair as breaking it? Not really, no, honestly, because there's a reason for you losing in that battle. It's not just you rolled the dice and you got the wrong number. It's that player was obviously higher level than you. Sure, it's unfair in the sense, yeah, he's level 100 and you're level 10, but most of the time in sandbox MMOs, there isn't a leveling system. There is a gear system. So it's more about gear than anything. In most sandbox games that I know of, the gear isn't even that much of a factor. Like in Darkfall, for example, I could have lower grade gear than another person and still be able to kill them if I land all my shots, if I use the right strategy in battle, if I know how to bob and weave and dodge, you know, abilities. So yes, to some degree it's unfair, but at least there's a reason other than, oh, you just got unlucky. You know, I like to have reasons for stuff breaking if it does break, or if I lose an item. I don't like to have oh, well, sorry, you didn't spend however much gold to increase your chances, and even then if you did, you still lost your item. I'm sorry. It's just, it's not good. It's not good at all. Some people like it, but I'm not one who likes gambling. I mean, I'll play Texas Hold'em, I'll play blackjack, stuff like that, but that's because I influence it, not because it's fully up to the hands of luck. In my mind, if it's up to the hands of luck, it's not worth my time. Yeah, but look at XL Games' history, mobile apps, and now ArcheAge. They lack so much experience. Maybe that's what killed ArcheAge. Personally, not a big fan of them. That is exactly what killed ArcheAge. It's not really so much the game in theory. Tim is a fantastic game. In theory, it's a fantastic game. In practice and in execution, it's terrible. Because there's so many things that it's lacking, and so many things that they can build that would make it a great game. And honestly, like I said, if Tryon fully bought the rights to make that game, if Tryon fully bought the rights to develop for it and to make it their own thing, it would be great. I have full confidence in Tryon to make great games. I mean, look at Rift. Rift is a fantastic MMO. But XL Games just doesn't know how to make a polished game. They just don't.